What's going on, guys? So here we are, back in a heavy duty truck. It's been a while. You guys have watched my channel and seen that I've had a lot of trucks in the past few years and do a lot of unbiased reviews based on just my experience being an enthusiast and working at Porsche and my whole life four-wheeling, kind of a hybrid country boy slash Porsche guy, right? So on this channel, I do a lot of Porsche videos, but I also do a lot of truck videos because I live in the country and I use my truck for just about everything. We're on a gravel road where our house is, and we've got 26 acres to maintain and so I need the truck basically. So I've had a whole bunch. I've kind of tried everything from the Raptor to the TRX to, you know, your standard F-150s. Had a King Ranch, had a Laramie and Limited Ram 1500, had a Laramie Night Edition 2500 Cummins. That was a cool truck as well. Love the look of that truck for sure. So basically when I'm coming at this video, this is just my personal review. Guys, I love the comments, fire them out there. A lot of loyal fans to each brand, right? I literally have had them all. I've had the Ram, I had the Ford, back in the Ford again. I had the GM, so I had a Denali Ultimate. You can watch that video in the half-ton with the Duramax. I had the AT4 2022, which was the new interior of the GMC, in the 1500 with a 6.2 in it. And then I had an Elevation with the little baby Duramax in it as well in 2021. So I've had all the GMs, I've had all the Rams, and I've had all the Fords. So pretty easy for me to talk about the top three, of course. Those of you Toyota fans, hey, I love Toyotas too. I'm not biased. The thing with the Toyota is specific to just personal taste for me. I love the old school V8's one of my favorite ones, but the fuel economy was terrible. It was about as bad as my TRX. So just knowing the truck and having a 5.7 and a Lexus LX 570 family hauler, I am very familiar with Toyota as well. So I've had a lot of people say, hey, why haven't you tried Toyota? And of course, recently their twin turbo 6 hasn't got the best reputation. They've got some recalls and stuff going on, as you guys will probably see online as of this video here, summer of 2024. So enough rambling on, Derek. What do you think? So I drove all the Super Duty trucks, all the big trucks, sorry, heavy duty trucks, specifically 2500s. I don't generally need more capacity than that. I am occasionally going to tow a skid steer, and I'm occasionally going to, you know, haul some things here and there. So I'm not specifically sitting back and saying, hey, I need to tow this heavy load all the time, okay? This is just once in a while. So my daily commute is important. Comfort's important to me. Fuel economy, those things are actually important because, as you've seen from my last videos, when I had the Ford Lightning and some of the other trucks, I am looking for kind of a good all-arounder. And I have watched so many videos on these F250s. My fear with going to a heavy-duty truck, because I had the 2500 Ram, was that I wasn't going to... The Ram was great. It rode amazing. It had coils in the rear, so it didn't have as much payload as the GMC or the F250 Ford here. But it's one of those things where the truck rode nice. The interior is still, I maintain, I think most editors and writers and car guys maintain the Ram does have a fantastic interior. It's the fit and finish is very nice. On the heavy duty trucks, it's still on the older interior, so it doesn't have this big panel roof. Right now in the heavy duty segment, if you're looking for the big panoramic roof, it's Ford, that's it. GM still got the small sunroof, and I did notice, for me, it cut down on headroom. It just feels a little tighter in that truck. And it was always the seats for the GMC, even in the Denali Ultimate. Every review says it, it's not just me. It's skinny and it's harder. It's just not the seat for me on a long commute. Some guys like it, hey, that's fine. If you like it, all good. I think the Ford seat wins out in my personal opinion. I think the Ram seat's a close second, just for seat purposes, just for comfort. I think the space in the cab of this Ford is just unbelievable. It just feels bigger and more airy in here, and I'm nowhere near the roof. I think a lot of that is, you know, the GM roof kind of hangs down in the back because that's where the roof goes, like inside itself there. So I feel like you lose some room there, and overall the cabin just feels a little tighter in that truck. But on the positive side, the GMC does have a beautiful interior. The new redesigned interior is gorgeous. They did a good job with the kind of driver style cockpit, which I do like, maybe one notch better than the Ford. This new Ford interior is nice too. I'll show you some clips while I'm driving. The Nav screen is easy. I've had all the latest updates, so I'm not getting the bugginess that the original trucks had. This is 2023, so this is the redesign when they redid the suspension in the front and kind of overhauled everything. And I will say they did a fantastic job. When I drove this truck, I drove the GMC, it really came down to a lot of the seats and things like that. I do like, in a heavy-duty truck, the solid axle in the front, which people talk about a lot. Just overall durability and just the way the truck rides is, in the new Fords, 23 and up specifically, has been dramatically improved. So when I first drove one, I drove the high output, I drove the standard output, and had a hard time telling the difference, to be completely honest, if you guys are going back and forth. A lot of it was down to availability. I wanted one that wasn't $90,000 because I knew I was going to put some money into the suspension. So I ended up finding this 2023. It had my most important package, is that black appearance package, which I think is my favorite because it blacks everything out. I'll walk around the truck, the black badging on the front. Basically, it's not something I don't have to go do, which I would normally do. I would black everything out on the truck. The mirror caps are black. Even the badges in the back and the sides are black. So there's just blacked out everywhere. All the trim, and of course color keyed bumpers, and the grille, you'll notice, is unique on the blacked out package. And these factory wheels, these are my favorite factory wheels, so much so that I kept them on when I did the lift, and we're going to talk about that as well. But I love the ride of the new F250. It feels like a big F150 to me. Like, it's comfortable, it's smooth. The power is immense, of course, and so is the Duramax. Don't get me wrong, I've driven that too. They are both quick trucks. These new diesels with, you know, this is the standard output one is what I landed on, with 1050 torque, and then the high output's 1200 if you haven't been reading online, of course. And, you know, my good buddy Brad Miser, shout out to him, Backroad Drivers, his channel. If you guys haven't watched him, he's a bad influence on me, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. I have done some Carli suspension upgrades and put some 37s on this truck, some Toyo Open Countries, the RTs, which is, you can hear me, I'm in the truck now, and I've got them aired to about 55 pounds, and it rides silky smooth. The truck will go easily 90 miles an hour with nothing, I mean, just easy, right? I don't get the steering wander, I don't get the bump steer, I don't get the, you know, the death wobble stuff. I feel like if you're putting the right components on your truck and you're lifting the truck and you do it right, you're going to be fine. This new one is everything is beefed up underneath it. We'll show you some clips on it, but of course I have upgraded the shocks, the coils, I did the special sway bar from Carli. The Torsion sway bar is like the secret sauce, is what everybody says. And I do agree, it makes it feel more like an independent suspension truck, where the axle actually has some movement to move, so it can, when you hit a bump, you don't just dive into the bump like a solid axle truck would normally do. So this fits 37s on the OEM wheel, and I got a 20-inch wheel, so it's 20 by 9, and I've got a 37 1250 tire. I didn't want to go any bigger than the 22s. I didn't want to lose ride quality, and honestly, I would have done an 18. But I just like these wheels a lot. So ride comfort is pretty amazing, and it does handle really well. I'm on these windy back roads, and I can roll it around pretty good for a big truck. I know it's heavy, I know that's not its purpose, but I think with this new suspension setup, it's really good. Now, I haven't touched the rears as of this video. I was gonna do some airbags, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I definitely want airbags in the rear, and I think I may keep the factory leafs and just put my good buddy Brad's tremor blocks he just hooked me up with, throw those in there, because the truck is at a 2.5, so it's about perfectly level right now. Maybe a ½ inch rake in the back, and I don't like any rake in the back, and I know when I put a load in there, it's gonna be push it down more. So I also don't want to lose tow capability. I know when you go to the Carli rear springs, you basically have to do airbags, but it's going to ride a lot better. So there's always going to be some compromise from suspension travel, no different than having a Ford Raptor or the TRX. I didn't have any tow capacity with those trucks, which was my biggest challenge with them. I loved them, and they were my favorite, hands down. They're just great trucks, and that's why everybody loves them. But the but is, when you're doing work, or you got to tow a big trailer, or you got to go do something and load up the truck, you just don't have a lot of payload in those things. They are made to be you know, soft, cushy suspension. So I was trying to find a combination of drivability, smoothness, kind of the all-around truck, right? I still need to use it, still want to tow. So my thought was, we'll do all the suspension work on the front, make it drive incredible. The rear is going to get some good shocks, probably the same shocks I got from Carli, because they are great. Fox shocks, basically. And then in the rear, we're going to do the airbags. I'm going to take the little, I've got the high capacity, so I've got the extra little leaf in there. So we're going to pull that top one off and put, I think, the tremor block in there, and then do the dual airbag setup. I have seen that setup on a couple of these guys' channels, and it looks amazing. You don't get as much axle wrap and things like that because you have 2 bags in there, and it's on top of the spring, which I think that's perfect because it attaches right to the frame. The mounting looks easy, and of course, I will update you on the next video when I do that. But out of the box, just having the front leveled and having 37s on it, I do get some rub. It's not rubbing on the new sway bars. It may be just a little on the front right here, and then it's just only at hard lock. I mean, I got to be like parking the truck and all the way locked for it to rub. So I wouldn't say it's bothering me. It always bothers me a little because I just know it's there and I don't want any rub at all. The challenge is I don't want to cut the studs to put the like borer spacers on. I just don't really want to do that. I mean, I could, then I can replace them. I like simplicity. If I didn't love these stock wheels so much, obviously I could just use some wheels with an offset. But I also don't want them sticking way out because I kind of like them just poking out next to the fender, maybe an inch or so. I don't want them to go like way out 2 inches, which would be like the only way I can get away with maybe throwing some spacers on and not having to trim. So I'm still working on that. If you guys have any suggestions, what I may do is Bora makes the little 3/8 spacers that you just put on behind the wheel. I'm 50-50 on that. I've seen a couple of hub-centric, you know, they're hub-centric, so I've seen some videos and they look pretty good. I just don't know if it's enough poke to make that rub go away, but it should improve it, so we may just do that. I'll keep you posted on that mod. So in general, the truck is amazing. The seats are great. A huge fan of the panoramic roof. If you don't like sunroofs, who cares? I get it. That's fine, no big deal. Everybody's gonna have their personal taste and what they like. And when the new body style came out, honestly, I didn't love it. And I still don't love it if it's not lifted or has like 37s on it. To me, the grill is so bold on these new trucks nowadays that they like have to have at least 35s on them to look normal. It's just gotten to that point, and that's fine. Trucks should have. I love big tires on trucks. I think they look amazing. But I also understand like people are towing, capability, fuel economy. Some people don't want to mess with a truck. Like I had to do some modifications because I do have the system that tells you the bed scales in the rear. It tells you what kind of weight's in the back and if you're overloading, which I think is kind of neat. It's a neat party trick, of course. And of course, when you're loading, the LED taillights can actually light up and tell you what your tongue weight is, where it's acceptable or not. So there's some cool stuff that the new Fords do as far as just making things like loading trailers and whatnot a little more simple. It's just one of those things where, you know, trucks are getting so automated. You know, how much electronics do you want in a truck? And they're all starting to get that way. You know, the 360 cameras are great. You know, these trucks are big. Even though it doesn't drive as big as it looks, it really does handle its weight and handling well, especially with this new suspension setup. But even stock, I was just impressed of what Ford did with the ride and the handling. I just couldn't believe how good it was. So I really did like it. So if you guys haven't driven one, go drive one. I read all the reviews. I watched all the videos. I went back and forth. I drove the GMC and the Chevy. I love the look of the GMC. Like the Denali Ultimate looks amazing. I think that's one of the best looking trucks. And I had one in the half-ton, but I kept going back to the seats. A lot of it too was availability, and then I started looking at the lifts for suspension, and it just seemed a little more complicated to get some 37s on that truck without rubbing and trimming. And I kept going back to the Ford, and I finally drove it again, and I was like, you know what, this is perfect. So we're gonna try this out. We may do a GMC or Chevy down the road, who knows. like I said, I'm not biased. There's pros and cons to each truck that I like. I do think for the win, the Ford has the space I want. It has the better sound system, hands down. I am not a fan of GM's Bose audio. I think it's absolutely terrible for a premium truck. Just watch my review on the Denali Ultimate. We'll talk about that one, of course, but I'm a huge audio guy, and I was really expecting a lot of that Bose system, and it was the muddiest system ever with very low bass. The Ford one is really good. I do get a little back window rattle, which I also had in the Raptor. So that's one of those things that you know, I don't know if it's a Ford thing or what, but there's always some challenges with rattles and dealing with that kind of crap. Everybody's going to have a different experience depending on their truck, I guess. All right, so glasses off. Let's get serious here. All right, so lots of pros. Cons, still a little bit plasticky. Some pieces in here versus the Ram specifically I'm talking about. Not all of it. It's not all bad. It's a truck, right? And I know people are going to write that in the comments. Oh, you're being particular. Well, you should be. These trucks are expensive, and this particular one's a Lariat. I know when you get into the Platinum, obviously the seats are that much better, and you get like, you know, full-on leather, which is, this one's got like the seat centers are leather and supposedly, and they're synthetic on the sides. Which is fine. I think for durability, even at Porsche, we use some synthetic on the doors and the entry and things like that. So when you're getting in and out of the car, you're not, you know, kind of wear items are going to hold up, right? Whereas natural leather can crack, and if you're not treating it correctly. So I get why synthetic is used. The GMC AT4 was the same way. Ram definitely had the best leather. It was the softest. It was nice. Once again, I'm bragging on Ram. So, Derek, why didn't you just buy the darn Ram? So, the Ram, a little bit smaller cab. Still don't love the single sunroof. Just in general, the cab is, if you don't get a mega cab, which you pretty much have to do if you're going to compete with this Super Duty, you're kind of got less room in the back, which for me is unacceptable. I can't do it. It's too tight in there. The 1500 Limited had the bigger cab, and that one worked fine, but they just haven't put that cab on the 2500s yet, which is, I'm sure, coming here in the 25 or 26 or something. We'll see. So the Ram cons are definitely the transmission. That 6R80 that everybody talks about is clunky. It's old school, and I just, sorry, it just doesn't. It's got plenty of torque and it pulls, but it's not lively. Like, the truck doesn't want to get up and go. It feels, to me, it feels slow. Like, I couldn't stand the power. The power. I love the Cummins truck. Like, I love the Cummins. I love the simplicity of it. I know it's one of the best diesels as far as just simplicity and torque and the engineering of it. I get it. Every review. That's why I bought it to begin with. But this truck here is just different. It shifts quickly. I can drive it sporty. It just does everything right. The torque is immense. I mean, this truck absolutely runs. I'm not exactly sure what the 0-60 is. I'll have to do a measurement at some point here, but and not like even 0-60 matters now, because it's trying to get the traction of the wheels. This thing just puts you in the seat, and you hit it and goes, and you're gone. And this is coming from a TRX and some really fast trucks. So I really, really enjoy what Ford did. I think the 10-speed's fantastic. I know it's shared with GM. They both have their own kind of set of programming. In the past, the 10 speeds at Ford were a little clunkier. This particular one I haven't had any issues with, and it just may be because I just drive it. You know, I drive it. I don't baby it. And I feel like I'm home now. I feel like with this truck, the 10-speed is definitely much better. I don't know if they reprogrammed it or whatever they did, but I don't have any of the shift shock. It's very smooth. I do wish it had a sport mode. I find myself liking to run and tow haul sometimes, even if I'm not hauling, because it will keep it down a gear, and it kind of downshifts a little more aggressively, obviously. And I like it. It feels more like a sport mode to me. But I do wish it had a sport mode, even though I know it doesn't really belong in a truck like this. Steering ratio as well. The Ram steering ratio seemed a little better, like just moving the wheel, moved the truck a little quicker. The Ford steering ratio is slow. We got to really crank that wheel over to make it turn. That's not something I'm used to, especially coming out of the Porsche brand and coming out of like the TRX and trucks like that, where it's like, it drives kind of like a big sports car, you know? So I would say that's probably my biggest gripe, is just, you know, going to a solid axle, there's going to be a little compromise there. Going to a vehicle that's designed to tow, there's going to be some compromise there. This is definitely not a Raptor, but with all the stuff I've seen from Carli. If you guys watch their videos, which are fantastic, shout out to CJC. You guys I've watched every one of your videos, and it's unbelievable the amount of suspension travel and all the modifications you can get to make this truck ride more Raptor-like. It's unbelievable, guys. You should definitely watch their videos. You'll be very impressed. There's some Super Duties that are just running through some off-road and some whoops, and you just never even know it could do that. But that obviously costs a lot of money. My budget isn't in the $20,000 range to add every single, the entire book of Carli. I might be exaggerating a little, but so I spent on this maybe in the $5,000 range with my current modifications. We're going to walk around it. I'll show it to you here and see what you guys think. Comment below. Wheel spacers, just put wheels on with an offset. I mean, it's barely rubbing. I don't know. I've even contemplated just keeping it, maybe just doing the Bora 3/8 spacers to push them out just a tiny bit. I just don't want them sticking way out. So it's going to come down to personal opinion there, right? But the lighting at night in this truck, I'll show you a video on that. With the perimeter lighting they have, there's lights everywhere in this thing. I love it. In the tailgate, I mean, everywhere, specifically on this Lariat Model 2. This is the ultimate package. I've got a heads-up display. I've got all the upfitter switches, which I think are really cool because you can add all your lights and modifications, and the wiring is fused and under the hood, which I think is really awesome. Shout out to Ford on that one. And it's just spacious in here. I can just move around. I've got a lot of area. My kids love it. We've got Wi-Fi and all the fun toys as well, like you'd find in all your typical trucks nowadays. So let's take a quick walk around it. It is dirty. This is like real world. I'm here at the house, and you get to see it all dirty. Get to see how level it looks. Definitely excited to put the airbags in the back and bump up the back just a smidge, maybe an inch, and have that extra airbag when I am towing something there for the ride and for the towing. So let's take a look at this thing and see what you guys think. All right, so we got about 8,000 miles on there now. See, I got the heads up here. Barely see it right there. The screen is nice. We've got our four-wheel drive. This is an FX4 package. We've got the rear locker. I wanted to do the tremor for the gearing. These are 331s. I think the tremor's 355s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. Heated, cooled seats, heated steering wheel. The big thing with the tremor was I just couldn't find one that was reasonably priced. So this one was such a good deal for the amount of equipment it had. It had the ultimate package, which a lot of the tremors I looked at did not. And I really wanted these upfitter switches, and I wanted the heads-up display. I actually really do like that now since I had the GMC one. Switch layout's nice. You got kind of this nice trim on here. My favorite tow mirrors on the planet, and you can power fold them out, which I think is really cool. No messing around, just a button here in the cab. Of course, I got memory seats. I've got lights on the mirrors at night. Got a huge bed in the back. They finally put the steps on the rear here so you can get in the back. This is rapid red. Key in my pocket. This is rapid red. And I just love the rapid red. I love a truck with some color on it in a world of grays and whites and blacks. I just love this color. I think it looks so cool. I eventually am going to do probably the tremor air dam on there, take that big one off there. That's probably my only thing I'm gonna modify on the front. I like it to look clean, kind of stock, but big. These new diesels are just so quiet, I can't even get over it. And I do have stuff in the back here, but it does have the bed step, and got my big toolbox back there right now. I've got the tonneau cover on the back. You got the GM side steps. So there's all your blacked out treatment here. I love these wheels. So you can see I'm still stock back here. I just got the helper spring like you get on the 350s. These sensors right here, what I'm talking about, that you have to, the back one I'm good at the moment. We'll see how that works with the airbags. As you can see, there's the Carli setup. This is the 2.5. Very clean job. It comes with the brake line extensions and the little brackets. Now down here, you will have to modify. If you've got the bed scales, you'll have to modify and get this bracket down here. And there's a couple videos out there on that. And I'll put a link to the ones that I got. But they worked great. They extended them out. So the sensors still work. I can still put stuff in the bed and it still does what it's supposed to. I know you guys with Platinums, it also affects the lighting because you have the projector beams. Versus me, I've got the LEDs, but they're the reflector style, which is what's on the Lariats. But I do love the grill. I do love the black badge on this black appearance package. I didn't have to wrap anything. I basically had to tint the windows and then throw those 37s on there. I don't mind the factory step. Obviously, I would love the ones that my buddy Brad has on his truck. He's got the power ones, and I probably will do that eventually, but I think with the lift on there, it doesn't look as bad. Yes, they're hanging down, but you do need them to get in the truck. The truck is tall. So, but you guys can see right here straight on. It looks pretty level without touching the rear. That's just a 2.5 coil in the front. But once again, when we load it up in the back, obviously it's gonna be a little down in the back. So I'm just gonna do the airbag setup, I think, with the tremor blocks and go from there, see how that feels. So underneath it, we'll show you. Here, we'll go on this side. There is the Carli Torsion sway bar link. It's got these nice greasable fittings here, and this thing is great. Did the steering stabilizer on the bottom, a little skid on there, very nice. And then the top one right now is just factory. So I left the bars. I'm probably going to swap those out, obviously, at some point. I was just kind of doing it piece by piece. But even just that, the way it is now, you can't really feel those 37s on there, and you can only slightly hear them at high speed. They're actually really, really smooth. And all the open countries I've ever had, the Needle Ridge grapplers are the same way. I think Brad's got those on his truck. They're fantastic. I've had those too. But I'd say the Toyo and Nito are like the two head-to-head guys. But these RTs, which are a blend between the all-terrains and the mud terrains, are a great tire. So the standard output is fine for me. Of course, I would love a high output. I just couldn't, like I said, I couldn't find one, you know, that wasn't almost 10 grand more than this truck in most applications, at least while I was shopping. So, and I couldn't feel enough of a difference, and I'm not towing enough all the time. I mean, the 1050 is already ridiculous. I'm not sure if Ford's limiting that 6.7 off the line. I'm guessing with 1,200 foot-pounds, they probably are, because even when I get on this one, it wants to just tear the back tires up, so, but. So there you go, guys. Great truck, great space. I just had the dogs in here, just brought them to the groomer, so I got towels in the back, but you can see it's got a ton of space in here. Got tons of storage under here. So I got all this stuff under here. Power inverter, I got the plugs on the back, heated seats back here for the kiddos. Gotta have that, right? Spoil rotten. If you're wondering what that tape is, that's so that my dogs don't absolutely scratch the living crap out of the door panels when they're jumping on the, looking out the window, so, but. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I don't want to wear it out too much. It's a great truck. My newest version, we'll see how it goes. We'll give you an update as we move forward with it, just like I do on the other ones. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, fire away. Want to see a video, let me know. Thanks guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Like I said, I just wanted to show off and give you my review on this thing. Fantastic truck, hauls everything I need to haul. It's got plenty of power, it's smooth, rides amazing. I think when you do the Carli setup, you'll be very happy. You know, if you don't have a bunch of money up front, which I didn't want to spend a bunch of money up front, that's a great setup right there without just spending, I mean, it's still expensive, don't get me wrong, but here in Tennessee, I had it done at 865 Diesels. They did a great, fantastic job. Same place my buddy Brad had his done. Definitely check out his channel too. It's Back Road Driver. He's got a whole bunch of fun stuff on his truck, so check it out. Thanks guys for watching. Dirk Lanzani here. Have a great day.